I'm Mine, and this is set number 71037, LEGO Minifigures Series 24 from the LEGO Minifigures theme. This is a collectible minifigure series which has a total of 12 different minifigures, and each individual minifigure bag retails for $4.99 in the US. Now, this series does not officially release until January 1st, 2023, but it was sent to me early by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Mascot network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. Before we get started, I'd just like to ask you guys, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm doing a bunch of early 2023 LEGO reviews. There's lots up on the channel right now, as well as more coming over the next few days. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, but liking the video and subscribing to the channel, it'll help put those videos in your feed as soon as they're posted, and also really help support me in the channel. But with all that being said, let's get on to the review. So here are the first three minifigures in the series. We have the TRex Costume Fan, the Rococo Aristocrat, and the Robot Warrior. Starting with the TRex Costume Fan, normally I'm not the biggest fan of costume suits. They were very cool when they first came out, but nowadays often they just seem very, very overdone to me. It's because LEGO knows they sell well, so we get one every series. So in general, they're inherently less interesting to me. However, this one's a costume suit that I actually really like. And the reason I like this so much is this is a costume that people actually wear in real life. I feel like the giant dinosaur costumes are just such an iconic thing that you see online all the time. So it's cool to see one represented here in LEGO form. So I think that makes this more interesting than just these standard costume suits that we get. Additionally, the level of detail here is pretty nice. Legs could be better. You have claws at the feet and little knee pads, but not much else. However, the figure does come with arm printing, which is pretty cool, as well as an all-new printed tail piece. I believe that's an entirely new tail mold. I don't think that's been used before. If it is a reuse of an older tail piece, though, let me know in the comments. But yeah, the dark brown stripes look great all throughout, and the all-new, like, mask mold for the dinosaur head is great. If you replace, like, the minifigure's head with, like, one of those printed mouth heads, you could turn this into, like, an anthropomorphic dinosaur, and I think that's genuinely really cool. I think the designers did a fantastic job with this, printing all throughout. And then taking off the mask, you can see the full face print, where he's got, like, a very happy open mouth smile, and then the other side's also a happy smile, but now it's, like, closed teeth. I believe those are two all-new face prints for this figure, so that is nice to see. Not the most useful in my opinion, but I think they're alright. But yeah, I'd say all around this is a solid figure. I wish he came with some sort of accessory, but at the very least he has arm printing and an all-new, like, head mold for the hat. So there is value in this figure. Definitely one of the less valuable figures in this series, but it's certainly not bad by any means, and it is one that I like. Next, the Aristocrat. She reuses this large dress piece, which was introduced in a minifigure series years ago and then never reused. It's a very, like, elaborate, oversized piece. You can see it's a total of 4 studs wide, but I think that's a very cool part, and I'm happy to see it reprinted because I think it works surprisingly well for just like an over-the-top elaborate dress. So I'm glad to see it's finally being reused. The design on it's nice too. The pink and the magenta look really great. It definitely feels very fancy, which is what it's going for. And then in terms of accessories, she comes with a little white dog. This dog piece is not new, but I think white is a new color for it, so that's very nice to see. And then her face print's not super useful outside the context of this figure because it is covered in makeup, but for this figure, I think it's pretty great. Same thing with her hair piece. It's new, it's elaborate, it's over the top, but it fits her absolutely perfectly. It's an awesome new mold to see here. Taking that hairpiece off, you can see she has an alternate face where she's got her mouth open and she's smiling. Back of the dress looks like it has a zipper too. And if you're curious, there's the dress piece looks without the torso on it. You can see it connects to the body the same way like any standard LEGO legs do. So yeah, this is another figure that I quite like. I'm not sure how interested people are going to be in this figure in general, but personally, I really love that dress part. I'm glad it comes in a set again. And the rest of it's well done and unique. It doesn't feel like just a remake of an old CMF figure, which is nice to see because with 24 series, you do get a lot of repeats of ideas, but this one feels very fresh and new. Speaking of repeats of ideas, here we have the Robot Warrior. We get a robot space warrior type character every few series, and I get it. When I was a kid, I thought these kind of figures were the coolest kind of figures. And while the novelty has sort of worn off for me, this one at least does a good job of setting itself apart from the previous ones. The color scheme is super unique with the pink and the sand green as well as a touch of lime green and white. And I believe that's an all new molded part for the helmet with like these spikes coming out the sides. Definitely gives off like Transformer vibes to me. There's arm printing, side leg printing, and dual molded legs, all of which super nice to see. Definitely fit the vibes of this guy really well, even if the colors are very extravagant. I will say the torso maybe seems a little bit flat. I would have maybe liked some more detail there, like maybe some scratch marks on it, just to make it seem a little less cartoony, but even still, this isn't bad. And then the face print underneath, you can see it has these glowing yellow eyes, and around the back, there's actually a hole in the helmet, this triangular hole, and there's supposed to be like this little sun logo shining through. Now, this is an issue with LEGO's printing, but unfortunately, the front of the head and the back of the head are not aligned correctly, because you can see I've got those eyes perfectly centered on the front of the head right now, but then when I turn around to the back, that triangle in the back is not perfectly centered. So if I try to center that instead, like that, see, that's how it's supposed to look, and then turn it back around, you can see now the eyes are a little ajar. It's not a huge deal. Most people probably won't notice that, but it is something that bothers me ever so slightly. I wish that was aligned a little bit better. But now, taking that helmet piece off, you can see the full face print underneath. This actually looks quite cool. It's like a black mask printed on a green head. I almost like that better than the sand green helmet. And then around the back, there's that triangular logo with like the sun design in the center. In terms of accessory, it comes with like this little sci-fi gun. You can can see there's a printed part on the side that has a triangle with a line underneath it. That same design is on the other side too, and you get an extra of that part in every like copy of this minifigure. I really like the use of the pink roller skates to be like the barrel of the gun. So I think that's a very creative design and a good accessory. While I think I actually like these two figures more, this figure is definitely the best value of the series, at least as of so far, because you have printing on every surface, so many new and exclusive pieces, and it just looks really good too. I just feel like we've gotten similar Space Warrior characters in the past, and a lot of them have done the Space Warrior idea better, but more is always a good thing, and I definitely love having unique figures like that. So yeah, all around pretty solid, and we're off to a great start with this minifigure series. So here are the next three minifigures in this series. We have the Potter, the Newspaper Kid, and the Orc. The Potter is one of my favorites, if not my favorite of the series. I just think this character looks really, really great. The lavender short sleeves are nice to get just for customs and whatnot, and I think her accessories are super cool. Obviously, she's making clay pots right here, so she has a little brown chalice in her hand, and then a brown bowl on this little stand. So if you want to make like a mock of a pottery shop or something, those are really great parts to have. Her apron print looks really good too, and she's got all these different tools in there to like work with clay. Amazing new face print too, with like the little freckles, and then like the open mouth smile. So full of personality, I really love that. And then the hairpiece or head wrap, I'm actually not sure exactly what that's supposed to be, but that's really wacky and really cool. It's teal with like this leaf design on it, and again, just helps set her apart and make her unique. But one criticism of this figure is I feel like the apron could have more detail. Again, sort of like the Robot Warrior, it feels almost a little too cartoony. Some folds or blemishes in there would have been nice, because it almost seems too perfect, but that's a very minor thing. She still looks great. And then turning around, you can see very minimal back torso print, and then she does have an alternate face where she has a more neutral smile. But I think this is a great minifigure all around, and so far probably my favorite that we looked at. Next we have the Newspaper Kid, who I know a lot of people were excited for, and while personally this isn't my favorite figure of the series just because I like some others more, I can acknowledge this guy is really, really good. The little hat he has on his head I believe is new and fits him absolutely perfectly. Awesome new mold there. Very funny expression too, with his mouth open. I guess he's like shouting, try to get people to buy some newspapers. He comes with an exclusive printed part too. It's a little Lego newspaper, it says extra, and it's got a picture of the classic policeman on it. He also has a recolor of the Bart Simpson like slingshot piece. Very cool to see that that's still in production, and it definitely did not need a recolor, but I'm happy to see it. Classic Indiana Jones bag too, which is always nice to see. Printed and dual molded arms. It looks like their long sleeves roll up, which that's actually super useful for customs as well. And then taking the hat and bag off, you get a better look at the full torso and leg print. The little patch on the leg's a cute little bit of detail. And then turning him around, you can see he's just got like suspenders holding his pants up back there. Yeah, I think the design of this minifigure was actually incredible. The designers did a great job. It captured what it wanted to perfectly. Absolutely no complaints with this figure for me. I do not think it could get any better. Then we have the Orc, and it's always nice to get like new fantasy villains. He's got like that classic like castle enemy sword, and this shield piece I think might be referencing like classic Lego castle, or not like classic, but at least the castle I grew up with. I'm not sure about that. You guys have to let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure I recognize that logo from somewhere. The cape piece on this guy is really cool too, with that like tattered red design. I believe that's entirely new for this figure. And then he has like the Nauticon ponytail at the back, and then an all new like chin attachment piece. That seems to be something that Lego's doing this year. Like some of the Monkey Kid villains do that too, where they just have a chin attachment with a normal head on top to make the head look more three-dimensional without doing a fully molded head. And that's an interesting choice. I think it works all right here. The jaw maybe seems a little bit too big and a little bit too high up, but it definitely gives him a very unique look. And if you don't like it, you can just take that part off. And you can see there is a perfectly respectable Orc face print even with that removed. There's also side arm printing here, which is very nice. Looks like he maybe has some red tattoos at the top and then like this bracelet that has bones on it. Very similar design on the other side, though that tattoo is slightly different. And then around the back you have more of those X-shaped straps, which of course match with the front of this guy. Yeah, once again, I think this is a fantastic figure. You get so much here, new prints, new pieces, very detailed minifigure. I think this one's well worth the $5. All three of these minifigures, in fact, are really, really good. Here are the next three minifigures in the series. We have the football or soccer referee, the Falconer, and the Conservationist. The football referee also comes with a printed soccer or football piece that I do not believe is new, but it's very nice to see here because it's not super common. I believe this is my first time getting it, so it's awesome to see it in such an affordable way, and obviously fits with this character perfectly. But beyond that, I also really love the design of this figure. The torso and leg design is simple, but it's super clear what it's supposed to be. I think the neon yellow is the perfect color for this torso, and I like the little whistle hanging down. And the legs have side leg printing to help better represent that they're shorts. You can see that yellow continues around the side, and there's even shoe printing, where you can see she's got Lego's like little non-Adidas logo there, which is what they use for like all their sports gear. I wish that yellow was printed a little more vibrantly, because it does not match the yellow of her face and of her hands, but that's Lego for you, that's what they do. Cooler than the leg printing though, at least I think, is the arm printing. She has printed arms on both sides as well as dual molded arms with the black short sleeves. On this arm she has like a little watch, while on the other arm she has a smartwatch or fitness tracker, whatever you want to imagine that as. So if we wanted to pop these arms off this figure and put them on another character, that's an easy way to give them a watch or a fitness tracker. which I think is a really cool option for customizability. Face print is absolutely perfect too. She's got this little headphone print, and on the one side she's angry and screaming, while on the other side she's more neutral and happy. I do not believe the hairpiece is new, but it may be a new color for it. Still though, it's a fairly good one, and you can see around the back of the torso, there's that logo for not Adidas. It's the iconic brand Sport. And then our other two accessories you can see are just two unprinted 2x1 tiles, and those are just meant to represent a red card or a yellow card that she can throw up when she's making a call. So those combined with the soccer ball, I think this is actually a pretty great collection of stuff you get with this minifigure, and yet another one that I'm pretty happy with. Then we have the Falconer. She comes with an all-new Falcon piece, which is very cool. It's got its wings spread in a really good print, and looks pretty fantastic from all angles, even from the back. But then removing the Falcon, taking a look at her actual torso, this is referencing classic LEGO. It's got the Black Falcon's logo on it, which is okay. I would have preferred an original Falconer design rather than a reference to something from the past, but this is still alright, and I know a lot of people are going to be excited for that. Her one arm print is really cool, because she does have a Falconer's glove printed on. That's a small but very nice touch, and you can see the other arm has no print on it nor any dual molding. Legs are dual mold, which is nice to see, but I don't think the print is anything all too crazy. Face print is actually really good. It's kind of generic, but it is new for this figure, and I feel like you could make a lot of custom characters using that. And then the cape piece is really weird. It's shorter on one side than the other, so it definitely creates a very unique look. Not sure if I'm a fan of that look, but it opens up more options, so I guess that is cool. There's a look at that cape when it's removed. You can see very weird shape to it. I'm sure people will find some interesting use for it, but yeah, to me it just looks very strange. I actually almost think she looks better without the cape though, because that like neck area gets so thick with the cloth capes, it almost makes the figure pop more like this. You can see she also comes with a crossbow as an accessory. That may be a new color for that part, and then her actual hair mold is not new, but that is a new recolor. Red is cool. I feel like we've gotten a lot of unique red hair pieces over the past few years, so I would have preferred like a different unique color, but red still works well enough. And then taking that hairpiece off and spinning her around, there you can see her back torso print where she actually has a printed cape, and her alternate face where she just has a wider smile. All around, definitely one of the figures in the series that I'm less interested in, but certainly still not bad by any means. I still quite like this one. And then we have the Conservationist, which is another great one. He reuses Dustin from Stranger Things hair hat combo piece, but that piece came out years ago and has not been reused up until this point, so it's very cool to see that it's finally being done. And because there's such wildly different colors, it's almost unrecognizable as Dustin's hairpiece, but no, that is the same part. Around the back you can see he's got a little logo with a paw print in it, and it says rescue. Leg print's really good too, with like these tan pants with the pockets on them as well as boots. Definitely fits the whole vibe that he's going for. But of course, in terms of his accessory, he comes with a little koala, which is absolutely adorable. That is an all new mold for this minifigure. You can see it holds on to a little eucalyptus leaf, and just spinning that guy around, I mean, look how cute he is. That is just the perfect design. The eucalyptus leaf can be removed. His hands are just permanently out in a little clip, so you can have it hold something else if you want. For example, this is possible, which is really funny. But yeah, all around, I think the koala is an awesome new mold. Very happy to see it here. Coming back to the Conservationist figure here though, you can see he's got a little ID badge on his torso, he's got that same like rescue logo on his head, and then taking that hairpiece off, fairly decent torso print, just a happy face with a little bit of a beard, and then turning around he's smiling and laughing, which I'm not sure if we have that expression on a bearded face. That's super nice to see too. Yeah, this is probably one of the best minifigures in the series, both in terms of the figure and the accessory. All of it is fantastic. And then the final three minifigures in the series, we have the Carrot Mascot, the Brown Astronaut, and the Rockin Horse Rider. The Carrot Mascot's another costume suit character, and I've expressed how I feel about those. But again, I think this is one of the better ones, because while Carrot Suit's not necessarily something I see in real life all too often, it's at least goofy and fun, and it does do more than just being a costume suit. They at least include accessories with it. Before we take a look at those, let me take a look at the actual costume. Nice bit of detail, dual molded with the green and the orange. They did put a lot of effort into this, and it is very fun. But beyond that, you can see it comes with a little printed sign for the farmer's market. That could be super useful for like mocks and whatnot. And if you take the Carrot costume off, he actually has a whole farmer outfit underneath, and the minifigure also comes with a hairpiece. So if you got this figure, you don't even have to keep the carrot suit on him, you can just turn him into a farmer. Now, is this farmer figure alone worth $5? No, but at the very least you have more options here, because a lot of the time costume suits would just come with unprinted torsos and no accessories at all, so at the very least they mixed things up a little bit here, made this figure more interesting than just the standard costume suit, so I do very much appreciate that. You can see those overalls continue around the back, and take that hairpiece back off. There you can see his alternate face where he's got like a funny little smile. Yeah, I would certainly not call this an amazing minifigure by any means, but I think it is good enough, and I'm happy they mixed up the costume suit formula at least a little bit. Then we have the Brown Astronaut with the Space Baby, and I cannot believe we've gotten to this point. Don't get me wrong, I love this figure, Space Baby especially, but LEGO knows the AFLs like classic space things, so they were like, you know what, just throw a classic space minifigure in a minifigure series. We kinda had this a little bit last year when the minifigures had a classic space torso, but no, this is just fully a classic space minifigure. As such, I'm sure this will be popular with AFLs, but I'm not sure how popular it's going to be with kids. Regardless though, I'm glad at the very least this, they mixed things up a little bit. They made the accessory super interesting to make up for the all-around simplistic figure. Don't get me wrong, I love the looks of Classic Space. I think Classic Space is very fun, but they are very, very simple minifigures. So just print-wise, they would not be worth $5 alone. However, these accessories are so cool that I think it makes up for it. First, he comes with a Space Baby, which is adorable. It uses an all-new headpiece for the baby, which has the helmet and air tanks molded onto it. I think it would have been better if the baby did not have pupils to match like the classic smiley face, but even still it looks adorable like this. It's got a little printed Classic Space torso on the body, and that is just a regular Lego baby body, so you can swap that head out if you wanted. There's the headpiece removed from the body. You can see it's dual molded in blue and yellow. And then the other accessory is a baby monitor, which includes an all-new printed tile, and that little image of the baby sleeping is super cute, but the rest of it looks like it's designed to match like the prints that were in old Classic Space sets, so I absolutely love that. I think that's done perfectly. And then removing that, you can see he's just a Classic Space astronaut in brown. I love that this figure exists. I wish it was included somewhere else instead of a minifigure series, because printing-wise, this is a little bit lame, but I won't lie, I do love that this guy's here. I'm happy to have another color for the Classic Spaceman, and the baby is so darn cute, and the baby monitor is a really fun accessory as well. So you're either going to love this figure or not care at all about this figure, because there's not really any useful parts outside of Classic Space, but he is really great. And then finally, we have my least favorite minifigure in the series, the Rockin Horse Rider. Starting off with what I like, I think the all-new Rocking Horse piece is fantastic. You see you slide a minifigure's legs on in the center, and the Rocking Horse is designed to look like an actual Lego horse, and it can actually rock back and forth, which is a lot of fun. The minifigure series also comes with a little jumper plate so you can actually display the rocking horse on the stand, which is a very small thing, but it is something that I do appreciate. However, that is about everything that I like about this figure. The rocking horse, awesome new piece, but this figure is basically Lego trying to charge you $5 for one piece. That torso print is new. You've got a little unicorn in front of a rainbow, and if that's a torso you really like, okay, cool, but if it's not something you're super crazy about, I don't see it as any different than most like Lego City torsos. It's just fine, kind of generic. So it's nice that it's new, but it's nothing all too exciting in my opinion, not like a reason to get this figure. And then the rest of this figure is just straight up not new. There's short blue legs, have come in many things before. That face print is just a Lego City face print, that's not even new. And then the pigtail piece also comes in plenty of other sets. So as such, this figure's inherently just less exciting. I feel like every single series is at least one figure like this, and for some reason it's usually the child figure, where they're essentially charging you $5 for one good piece. I think at the very least they could have included a new face print here, because face prints are always nice to get, or maybe a new hair piece, something to make this figure more desirable. Because if this figure came in a Lego City set, I wouldn't think twice about it. I'd be like, okay, that's a kind of average minifigure. But the fact that they're expecting you to pay $5 for this alone, because it comes with a rocking horse, in my opinion, that's just not worth it. So yeah, easily my least favorite minifigure of the series. It's okay for what it is, but it should not cost $5. In a $3 minifigure series, this would be fine, but the quality should definitely be way higher, especially when comparing this to everything else in the series. This one just does not match. But overall, what are my thoughts on this minifigure series? I think this was a really solid series all around. Most of the figures in this series range from good to amazing, and I would say the Rocking Horse Rider is the only truly bad one, just because it is not worth the price at all. In terms of my favorites and least favorites, Rocking Horse Rider is definitely my least favorite, but after that it would probably be the Carrot Suit guy, and then probably the Robot Warrior. Robot Warrior is certainly not bad though, I'm just not the biggest fan of it. And then in terms of price, I think almost all these are worth the price they're charging for them. Obviously not Rocking Horse Girl, and Dinosaur Suit and Carrot Suit I wish had a little more to them, but they have done more than previous costume figures, so I will give them that. But all around, I think this is a really solid series. Oh, and then favorites probably have to be the Potter, the Soccer Referee, and then the Space Baby, because it's a Space Baby. But I'm curious to hear your favorites and least favorites in the comments below. What are your overall thoughts of this series? Good, bad? Which ones are you planning on getting? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, please press like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I have more early 2023 reviews coming very, very soon, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel. But as for this video, I think that's about gonna do it. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!